Let's start with a benchmark. 79 A to D, Mount Vesuvius. This wasn't just a mountain popping. It was a 33-kilometer plume of gas and ash, raining molten rock at a staggering 1.5 million tons per second. To give you a sense of the scale, that is 100,000 times the thermal energy of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings combined. People in Pompeii and Herculaneum didn't just die from smoke. The heat was so intense, so instantaneous, that their soft tissue vaporized and their brains, literally, turned into glass. We look at Pompeii today as a tourist trap, a place for selfies, but in 79 A to D, it was the first, brutal, proof that the earth doesn't care about your empire or your real estate value. It was a total wipeout of Roman sophistication in less than 24 hours. Welcome to the Catalogue of Doom. Next up, the biological siege. The 2nd and 3rd centuries were basically a greatest hits of germs. In 165 AD, the Antonine Plague arrived. Soldiers returning from war in the East brought back a souvenir, likely smallpox or measles. It killed up to 10 million people, effectively deleting the Roman economy and crippling its legendary army. Trade routes with India and Southeast Asia simply vanished. Then came 251 A to D, the Plague of Cyprian. Imagine 5,000 people dying per day. In the city of Rome alone, it slashed the population of Alexandria from 500,000 to less than 200,000. This wasn't just a health crisis. It was the crisis of the 3rd century. Civil wars, invasions, and economic collapse, all happening at once. And how did the state react? Emperor Decius didn't build hospitals. He ordered mass sacrifices to the Roman gods. When biology fails, humans start looking for a scapegoat. The Christians refused to comply, and a wave of brutal persecutions followed. It's a 2,000-year-old tradition. When the world burns, we look for someone to throw into the fire. The heavyweight champion, 536, Odor, widely considered by historians as the absolute worst year to be alive. If you think a rainy weekend ruins your mood, imagine a year where the sun simply forgot to show up. Massive volcanic eruptions blanketed the earth in a thick shroud of ash. For 18 months, the world lived in a twilight zone. There were no shadows at noon. The sun gave off light without brightness, like the moon. In China, it snowed in the middle of August. Crops failed globally. Famine became the only constant. This volcanic winter didn't just kill people, it killed the Roman Empire's last chance at a comeback. It weakened the entire Mediterranean so much that when the plague of Justinian hit, it found a population that was already starving, cold, and broken. A third of the population was wiped out. Nature, literally, pressed the pause button on life, and it took centuries to recover. Jump to the 7th century. The Yellow Plague hits Britain in 664 AD. It wiped out entire monasteries. Why does that matter? Because back then, monasteries were the Google servers of the world, the only place where knowledge, history, and literacy were stored. Imagine a virus today that doesn't just kill people, but deletes the entire internet. That was 664 A to D, a total blackout of recorded knowledge. If the germs didn't get you, the neighbors did. In 865 A to D, the great heathen army of Vikings didn't just raid, they launched a full-scale occupation of England. For 14 years, they burned every kingdom in their path. Meanwhile, in the 10th century, China's Tang dynasty, one of the most powerful civilizations on Earth, collapsed into blood-drenched chaos. No central authority, just warlords fighting over ruins. Millions died from massacres and starvation. We think of progress as a straight line moving upward. The 10th century proves it's a circle. You can have the most advanced civilization on Earth, and in one generation, you're back to fighting over a bag of grain in the mud. The Crusades and the Black Death, then the 11th century, 10 to 99 A to D, Jerusalem. The First Crusade reached its climax. It wasn't a noble quest. It was a bloodbath. When the walls were breached, tens of thousands of Muslims and Jews were slaughtered in the streets. This single event fueled religious warfare and hatred that would haunt the world for the next 900 years. But wait, let's zoom in on the 14th century, 13 to 47. The Black Death. This was the first time humanity realized that the entire world is connected, not by trade or ideas, but by fleas. Everyone talks about the rats, but the real MVPs of this apocalypse were the Genoese galleys. They fled the siege of Kaffa, where the Mongol army was literally catapulting plague-infected corpses over the city walls. This was the world's first recorded biological terror attack. By the time the ships docked in Europe, the crew was dead or dying. 200 million people vanished. Globally, many saw it as divine retribution. People went insane. The irony? The Black Death was the ultimate union boss because so many peasants died. The ones who survived suddenly had leverage. They demanded higher wages. The feudal system didn't just fade, it was murdered by a bacterium. The modern age. The 18th and 19th centuries were just the Earth, reminding us who is boss. 17 to 83. The Laki volcano in Iceland erupted, spewing toxic fluorine and sulfur. It poisoned the livestock, killed a quarter of the population, and drifted over Europe, killing thousands more from respiratory disease. It even disrupted the monsoons in India, triggering a famine that killed 11 million people. Then came 1816. The year without a summer. Mount Tambora erupted in Indonesia, and the ash cloud was so dense that summer never arrived. Frost blanketed fields in June. Snow fell in July. People in Europe were reduced to eating moss, sawdust, and stray animals just to survive. 18 to 16 shows how fragile our global food chain really is. One big pop from a volcano, and we're back to the Stone Age in 6 months. Conclusion. The 20th century gave us the Spanish flu and the horrors of 1942, the darkest year of World War II, the Holocaust, Stalingrad, and the systematic destruction of cities. And then there's 2020. Pandemic, lockdowns, and isolation. Compared to 536A to D, 2020 was a vacation. But here is the niche detail to take home. The Beirut explosion, August 20 to 20. 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, one of the largest non-nuclear explosions ever recorded. It wasn't a volcano, it wasn't a god, it was just bad storage. In the old days, you needed a massive geological event to wipe out a city. Today, we can do it with a poorly managed Excel sheet and some fertilizer. We've optimized our own destruction.